Hello, we are super late going live today, but I want to say happy Friday. I think you have survived now. If anyone's counting, I think we're on about week 4 of quarantine. And I hope that you are doing something to do something fun this weekend to celebrate the fact that it is the weekend and the weekends are in fact different than the weekdays. So share in the comments something you're doing fun. It's 70 degrees out right now in Bend, Oregon. But tomorrow it's only supposed to be 60. I'm going to go for a long run and enjoy the sunshine. And I'm going to actually close the door to my office and I'm not going to enter it at all during the weekend. So that's kind of my commitment. I have been working super hard on getting this free training series, Revenue Multiplier for Growing Your Business in Challenging Times, finished up, and it's now available. You can sign up. We'll share the link in the comments. But I want to actually just take some quality time, be outside, be in nature, spend some time with Alec. So that is my plan to decompress for the weekend and then be ready and re-energized to come back at it on Monday. And, sometimes that's really hard right now because all of the days, at least for me, seem to be really blending together. Raise your hand or say hi if you can relate. And it's hard to know not only what day it is, but if it's a weekend or a weekday. And really, what are you going to do over the weekend, right? It's not like you're going to go out to dinner with friends, but there are things that you can do, whether it's last weekend, I played Cards Against Humanity online with some friends, and that was really fun and lots of laughs, and went paddleboarding at a safe social distance with just me and Alex. So there are things that you can do during the weekend, but I think one of the most important things is just mentally differentiating it and doing something different than what you do during the week. So if you're homeschooling your kids, put homework aside, put work aside, close the door to those spaces, clean them up, and so that you actually feel like you have a weekend. Sometimes when we're feeling like we're lacking motivation to continue moving forward, it's because we're getting burned out. And one of the things that causes burnout is not taking a break. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is take that break over the weekend, recharge, take care of yourself. I think 2 weekends ago, Alec and I did a home spa day, and we did face masks, and we gave each other massages, and it was sounds so cheesy, but it was actually really, really relaxing, and it felt like a weekend. It wasn't quite the same as being at the spa, but it did help to break up that monotony of work day and a weekday. So I want to encourage you, do something that will make you feel like you actually had a weekend, and it will make a world of difference for Monday. On that note, I'm really thinking about for today, I think it's important to share success that you had. It might have been a small win, a small victory. It might have been, getting the kids to do their homework. It might have been following up with a client. It might have been winning a new client. But share with me one win that you've had for this week. Right now, it's so easy to get caught up in the things that aren't going well, that we forget to recognize that wins are still happening, not only for us, but for our, colleagues and for people in our circles. And it just, for me, the reason why spending time reflecting on wins is so important is because it reminds me that things are still possible, that things are still happening, that good is still happening in the world, and not to ignore the challenges, but to recognize that there is still forward movement. I was on a call today with some sales professionals in multiple different industries, and one of the sales professionals, they're booming right now. So that was really cool to hear. And we're also hearing, a nonprofit that I'm on the board for got fully funded for their payment protection plan. They're able to rehire staff. I think it's really important because we're bombarded with all of the bad news. We're bombarded with, payment protection plans out of money. Maybe some businesses didn't even get a chance to apply. And these are real plights that we should be aware of. And we should be figuring out, how do we support each other? How do we get the resources there? But it needs to be balanced with also recognizing the good that is happening. And that's what I really feel like is lacking right now, is that balance. And I think if you have done something where you've had a win or you've experienced a win, it's important to share that. So, for me, I did apply for the EIDL grant, and it's $1,000 per employee. I'm a sole proprietor, but I got that in my bank account. And so, on some level, there are some systems and some resources. Maybe you got your stimulus check. Maybe you connected with a new lead or somebody that might be a client down the road. Take the time to acknowledge those, say them out loud, and share them, because we need to hear stories of success. We need to balance out the challenges that we're facing, the very real challenges, the very real struggles, the very real heartache, with the stories of where people are still succeeding, where people are coming together, where you're having wins in your business, where things are working. And that collectively gives us all hope. Sometimes maybe you're a business that isn't as impacted right now by COVID, and you might be feeling guilty about that. You kind of like that survivor's guilt that everyone else is struggling and maybe you're not. And there's a tendency to not want to share if you're not struggling, because you don't want to be coming across as being arrogant or tone deaf or rubbing it in. But there is a way that you can share that uplifts others and says, hey, this is where we're having success. This is how we're having success. This is what we did that really worked. And even if that isn't something that's possible for the people that you're sharing with, that is something that is important for all of us to hear. So please share a success that you've had. Maybe you're a mortgage lender and you were able to get someone funded and into a new home this week. That's amazing. Maybe you're a real estate agent and you picked up a new listing. That is phenomenal. Celebrate that, share that, because it helps us to know there are still things happening. I feel like we are all living in our little bubbles right now. I know that's true for me, right? I spend 80% of my waking hours in my home office. And, I'm lucky I have a beautiful home office. Thank you, Felicia, for your design. And, but it's still, right, it's a very small space. It's maybe, I don't know, 200 square feet. And I forget that there's a world outside of my walls, and that what I'm experiencing and what I'm seeing every day isn't necessarily the reality that other people are experiencing. And unless we're sharing those experiences with each other, we are all kind of isolated in our own reality. That, the front porch is the new boundary for where most of our lives are happening, or the front yard. And in that, we're, hearing the news that we're reading. We're hearing about the struggles from our friends in the business community, but we're not hearing about the successes. We're not at networking events. We're not connecting with other business owners where there's opportunities to share, hey, I did this new YouTube experiment and I got really great feedback. We're not hearing that. And in not hearing that, the real danger is that we think no good things are happening. And if we believe that no good things are happening and there is no positive movement, getting motivated to keep showing up, to keep putting yourself out there, it starts to feel, for what? Why bother? Why even try? And it's not a panacea. It's not going to solve all of the problems. But if you can identify and share small victories and small wins, not only does it help you stay motivated in your own efforts and your own engagements of moving forward, but it actually helps your circle do the same, right? So our circles are so much smaller now. We're not talking to as many people. So if you can identify something that was a success for you, a win, a surprise for you, share it, because that is how we can uplift and support each other. So again, not in the sense of saying that the struggles aren't real or invalidating the struggles or rubbing it in people's faces, but acknowledging that this is hard. There are a lot of setbacks. There are a lot of challenges. And there are wins that are still happening. So what are those wins, and how can you share those in a way that is supportive and uplifting with others? So that's what I want to leave you with for this week, is to really take the time to share something good that happened. Share with a colleague, reach out and say, how are you doing? I know things have been a struggle, but I want to share a story of hope. I want to share a story of how things can still move forward. And that might not be where you are right now, and that's okay. But I want to let you know that there are still wins. I have a client who their business is growing and they have people on their sales team that are exceeding their sales goals for this month. And that is probably the exception and not the rule for what's happening in the world right now, but it is happening. I have another client where they're engaged in proactive outbound sales and they're getting a really positive reception to that. So there are things that are happening that are positive, even amidst all the struggles. And it reminds me of that Mr. Rogers quote, right? Like, look for the helpers. And I think we need to look to the helpers, but we also need to look to see where things are working, not so that we discount the challenges, but so that we recognize that there is potential for positive forward movement and that showing up now still matters. Planting those seeds still matters. All of the things that you need to do in order to be successful in times of non-COVID, in times of non-challenge, they still matter. And how you do them and what it looks like might change, but showing up and doing them still has an impact. And I just want to encourage you all to support and give each other hope and share those stories. So please share in the comments one win that you've had this week. Maybe it's a win that you saw for somebody else. For me, seeing that the board that I was on, the nonprofit board here in Bend, Oregon, that they got fully funded through the payment protection plan. And I know that's a rarity. I've heard of so many business owners that the way that the plan was executed, unfortunately, didn't have a chance to even apply. And they really needed that to keep going. But, for this one nonprofit, they were able to get that funding and hire back their team. That is phenomenal. Right? That is phenomenal. That's a win. That's more jobs in our local economy. And all of those small wins ultimately impact the bigger picture and the bigger reality. So share your wins, find wins. If they're not your wins, reach out, ask other people what successes they're having. Look for the wins too, to balance out the stimulus that we're getting, where all of the inputs seem to be negative, to find examples of positive and forward motion. And you will be amazed how much this does, not only for your own motivation, but also to inspire and motivate other people during these times. Have a great week. I will be back next week, live every day, answering your questions about how to grow in challenging times, how to survive in challenging times, and then how to put in the right processes and tools and strategies to succeed beyond COVID in a post-COVID reality. If you haven't already signed up for the free on-demand training series, Revenue Multiplier, go sign up. You can watch the training, not over the weekend, because we're going to take the weekend to do weekend things. But if you really want to work, you can watch it. But they are broken down in bite-sized pieces for you to learn some phenomenal tools that will help you not just right now, but well into the future. It's mytimetoprofit.com/workshop. We'll post the comments, share it. I've put a lot of great resources and tools in here for small business owners, especially consultants, commission-based professionals, and business owners that need to go out and connect with other people. How can you do that? How can you create the right systems and tools to be successful? So get your hands on that training. It's only going to be live for about a week, I think until next Friday. So 7 days for you to get access to that. So take advantage of that free offer. It's a phenomenal resource. And I think sometimes we hear free and we think that it's not very valuable, but it is chock full of value in there and it will be well worth your time. So make sure that you get signed up for that. And I will be back here next week live on Facebook.